Imagine waking each day knowing the beauty you seek might threaten your very life. The soft chill of the early morning air presses against your skin as you slowly open your eyes in the dim light of your chamber. The walls around you, cold and rough with ancient stone, seem to hold the weight of generations of women before you, each with her own story of longing, hope, and sacrifice. A faint flicker from a single candle casts trembling shadows, and somewhere nearby the faint earthy scent of herbs and potions drifts through the air, a reminder of the remedies and rituals that promise to shape you into the ideal. You rise, carefully, the wooden floor cold beneath your feet, and you feel the quiet urgency of the day ahead. For you, beauty is not merely a matter of vanity or fleeting pleasure. It is a vital language, spoken without words, that defines your place in the world. To be seen as beautiful is to be respected, to attract a good match, to secure your family's future. It is, in many ways, a survival skill wrapped in silk and scent. Yet, this pursuit is complicated by the shadows of what it demands. The knowledge of healing and health is fragile here, passed down in whispered secrets and half-understood recipes, mingled with superstition and fear. There is no safety in these rituals, only hope and risk. You touch the small jar on your wooden dresser, its contents a pale powder said to brighten your skin, a sign of nobility and virtue. You know it holds lead and you know it is dangerous, but you use it anyway. The pale glow it promises is worth the danger, or so you tell yourself. Outside your window, the village slowly stirs to life. You hear the low murmur of voices, the clatter of carts and the soft cry of children. Life is a constant rhythm here. Work, prayer, care for family, and the delicate dance of appearance and reality. To navigate this world, you must carefully balance the visible and the unseen. The redness of your cheeks, the smoothness of your skin, the scent that clings to your cloak, each a quiet message to those who watch and judge. In the marketplace, you imagine the other women like you, each carrying her own rituals. Some rely on the bitter herb washes that promise to clear blemishes but leave the skin raw. Others cling to whispered charms, small tokens said to ward off wrinkles or make hair shine like spun gold. All these practices blend the hopeful and the hazardous, the science and the superstition, the beautiful and the perilous. Your reflection in a small, polished metal mirror reminds you of the stakes. This face, shaped by countless rituals and dreams, is your shield and your vulnerability. The pressure to maintain it is relentless, but there is also a quiet strength in this striving, a resilience born from generations of women who faced these dangers with courage you can almost touch. As you dress in the soft linen that brushes against your skin, you think about how beauty here is a conversation with the world, a language made of pale skin, careful gestures, and scented powders. It is a gift, a burden, and a promise all at once. You move through your day knowing that each smile, each glance, each carefully painted cheek could shape your fate. This world may seem distant now, yet in the quiet moments like these, it feels close, almost alive. The struggles, the hopes, and the risks of medieval beauty are stories worth telling, whispers of a time when appearance was a delicate and dangerous art. If you're already curious about these rituals, I'd love to hear which beauty practice you find most surprising so far. Feel free to share your thoughts. There was something almost sacred about pale skin in the medieval world, a delicate, ethereal glow that spoke of purity, nobility, and virtue. It was a mark not only of beauty, but of status, a silent proclamation that you belonged to a higher class, sheltered from the harshness of outdoor labor and the sun's unyielding gaze. To possess skin so fair it seemed to shimmer in candlelight was to carry an unspoken power, a sign that you were worthy, refined, and untouched by the roughness of common life. But achieving this ideal was far from simple. It required rituals that blurred the line between care and cruelty. You might imagine, as I do, the cool, heavy powder applied in thin layers, white as freshly fallen snow, smoothed carefully across the face and neck. This was no ordinary powder. It was made from lead, a substance known only for its weight and its slow, silent poison. To the women who used it, it was a magical cloak, shielding them with a flawless complexion that promised respect and admiration. Yet beneath that delicate mask, the lead seeped into their bodies, quietly damaging their skin and their health, day by day. Some women took it even further, consuming wafers laced with arsenic in tiny measured doses. This practice, dangerous beyond belief, was believed to purify the skin from within, making it whiter and more luminous. The arsenic promised transformation, but it delivered a slow and painful betrayal. As the poison coursed through their veins, it weakened them from the inside out, causing nausea, fatigue, and even death. Still, the fear of social rejection and the desperate desire to fit an unforgiving ideal drove them onward. Imagine the layers of complexity here: the intertwining of beauty with health, desire with danger, and identity with sacrifice. For many women, pale skin was a passport to respectability, a fragile shield against the harsh judgments of a rigid society. But it was also a prison, binding them to practices that eroded their very being. Can you imagine the cost of such a glow, knowing your skin might be slowly betraying your body? This haunting question lingers in the stories of those who dared to chase this ghostly ideal. It is a reminder that beauty, as it was defined then, was often inseparable from suffering. Beyond the physical toll, these rituals reveal a deeper truth about medieval life. The expectations placed on women were relentless and unforgiving. Your appearance was not just personal, it was public property, a reflection of your family's honor and your own worth. To stray from the ideal was to risk scorn, gossip, and diminished prospects in marriage and society. The use of lead and arsenic also highlights the fragile state of medical knowledge at the time. The dangers were poorly understood, masked by hopeful promises and half-truths passed down from apothecaries and well-meaning advisors. Women lived in a world where science mingled with superstition, and where the line between healing and harming was perilously thin. Yet, amid this danger, there was a quiet bravery in their choices. Each woman who donned that white powder or swallowed that bitter wafer was making a decision weighed with hope and fear. It was an act of agency, complicated and constrained by the forces around her, but agency nonetheless. We might look back now with horror at these practices, but perhaps there is also room for compassion. These women lived in a world where beauty was power, and power was survival. Their stories invite us to reflect on our own relationships with appearance and the sacrifices still made in the name of beauty. If you find these stories compelling, and you want to hear more about the hidden dangers woven through history's beauty rituals, I invite you to subscribe and join me for the next chapters of this journey. There is much more to uncover beneath the surface in the whispers and shadows of the past. Close your eyes and breathe in the thick floral fragrance, a scent both enchanting and deadly. Imagine walking through the bustling streets of a medieval village or city, where the air carries a complex tapestry of smells. Fresh bread from the baker's oven, the damp earth after morning rain, the faint, persistent odor of smoke from hearth fires. Yet woven through all this is another, more deliberate scent, the heady, sweet perfume that women and noble ladies carefully apply to mask the harsher realities of daily life. Perfumes were more than just pleasant aromas. They were a shield against the odors of a world without modern sanitation. Imagine the heavy fabrics of your clothing, the dusty streets, and the close quarters filled with people and animals alike. The scent of your perfume became a personal signature, a promise of refinement and grace amid the disorder. But behind these fragrant veils lay a dangerous secret. Medieval perfumes and beauty potions were often made from blends of herbs and flowers, lavender, rose, rosemary, but also from far less benign ingredients. Mercury, for instance, was a common component. It was prized for its shiny, smooth qualities and believed to bring a youthful glow. Yet mercury is a potent poison, seeping quietly into the body and causing devastating effects over time. The very potions designed to make you beautiful could slowly harm your mind and body. Women seeking these magical elixirs often turned to apothecaries and beauty alchemists, figures who occupied a curious space between healer and charlatan. These practitioners brewed mixtures promising to smooth wrinkles, lighten skin, or thicken hair, all with ingredients that might cause more harm than good. Some alchemists were learned in herbal lore and healing arts, but others were less trustworthy, peddling dangerous concoctions for profit or reputation. Imagine the ritual of receiving such a potion. The faint hiss as a cork is pulled from a glass vial, the rich, complex scent rising as the liquid is poured into your hand or dabbed behind your ears. You hope for transformation, for the power of the potion to bridge the gap between the harshness of reality and the beauty ideal you must uphold. Yet beneath the allure, the risk lingers. These mixtures could cause burns, allergic reactions, or worse. Women sometimes developed rashes, hair loss, or long-term health problems after prolonged use. Still, the desire to appear radiant and to conceal the marks of toil and hardship kept them coming back, chasing the dream of beauty through this alchemy of scent and color. The sensory experience of these potions was intoxicating and complex. Notes of sweet rose mingled with bitter herbs, a hint of smoke from rare spices, and sometimes an almost metallic undertone from the minerals and metals hidden within. This was beauty that could be smelled, felt, and feared. As you imagine yourself in this world, sensing the heavy perfume clinging to your skin and garments, consider how precarious these rituals were. Beauty here was a fragile balance between hope and hazard, a dance with forces that could heal or harm with equal certainty. Now, if you reflect on this, what modern beauty habit might one day seem just as strange, or even risky, to those who come after us? Perhaps a question worth pondering as you rest tonight. If you enjoyed this glimpse into the mysterious world of medieval perfumes and potions, I invite you to stay with me for the next chapter, where we explore even deeper into the fascinating and sometimes perilous rituals of beauty past. What would you risk to meet the expectations placed upon you? Imagine standing before a rough wooden table in a dimly lit room. The scent of herbs and iron thick in the air. You feel the cold weight of a small blade or sharp needle as it touches your skin. A steady, practiced hand working to draw blood from your veins. This is no casual act. It is part of a beauty ritual as common as it is dangerous. Bloodletting. In medieval times, bloodletting was believed to balance the body's humors, to cleanse and purify the blood, and by extension, to improve the skin's appearance. Women hoped that by releasing bad blood, their complexion would clear, their cheeks would glow with health, and their beauty would be restored. Yet the practice was perilous. Without sterilization or proper care, infections often followed. The pain was sharp, and the bleeding sometimes excessive. Still, many endured it, trusting in the wisdom of healers or simply the desperate hope for change. Beyond bloodletting, other rituals altered the body in equally profound ways. Teeth blackening, for instance, was a custom practiced in parts of medieval Europe and Asia. Though it may seem unusual to modern ears, blackened teeth were considered beautiful, a sign of maturity and marital status. The process involved applying a mixture of natural dyes and sometimes metallic compounds to the teeth, staining them permanently. The taste was bitter, the sensation strange, yet it was a mark of identity and social belonging, worn proudly despite any discomfort. Hair, too, was a battleground for beauty's demands. Women sought luscious, thick hair as a sign of vitality and desirability. To achieve this, they used dyes and treatments made from harsh substances, often lead-based or sulfur-rich, mixtures that promised to darken, lighten, or add shine. The application was pungent, the smell acrid and sharp, clinging to the air long after the treatment ended. These chemicals could cause scalp burns, hair loss, or allergic reactions, but the allure of beautiful hair outweighed the risks. Picture the feel of these treatments, the sticky paste coating your scalp, the burning sensation as it settles, the tightness of hair wrapped in cloth to set the color. It was a ritual of transformation, but one that came with real cost. Some women would lose patches of hair, others suffered painful sores, yet they persisted in these rituals, fueled by the relentless pressure to conform. These practices reveal a profound desire to control and mold the body, according to ideals that often felt both distant and urgent. Beauty was not simply about appearance, it was intertwined with social survival, personal dignity, and even safety. Yet behind the layers of powders, dyes, and rituals lay real dangers. Risks of infection, poisoning, disfigurement, and chronic pain. As you imagine the women who endured these practices, it's important to hold a compassionate view. These were not reckless acts, but choices made in a world with limited options and immense pressure. Each cut, each dye, was an act of courage and hope, a delicate negotiation with the body and the society that judged it. What do you think about the role of pain or sacrifice in beauty, both then and now? It's a question that invites reflection on how far people will go and still go to meet the expectations placed upon them. If you find these stories moving, and you want to continue exploring the hidden struggles behind beauty's surface, I invite you to subscribe and join me for the next part of our journey into the past. There is still much more to uncover. You stand before the mirror, carefully applying the rouge that signals your place in the world. The soft brush strokes across your pale cheeks are more than a simple act of beautification. They are a quiet declaration of your social standing, a signal to those who see you of your virtue, your family's honor, and your readiness to marry well. In this time, makeup is far from frivolous. It is a language of power, expectation, and survival. The rouge itself is made from crushed minerals mixed with fat or wax, a vivid red that can both brighten the face and mask the weariness beneath. But it carries its own dangers. Some rouges contain mercury or cinnabar, substances that poison the skin slowly, causing irritation, rashes, or worse over time. Yet these risks are weighed against the sharp sting of social exclusion. To be seen without the proper blush or carefully darkened eyebrows might mean gossip, judgment, or worse, a reflection not only on you, but on your family. Kohl, used to darken the eyes and create that deep, alluring outline, is another crucial element. It is applied with a thin stick, tracing delicate lines that seem to widen and brighten the gaze. Kohl was prized across many cultures, believed to ward off evil spirits and protect the wearer, but it often contained lead or antimony, again, poisonous but tolerated for the sake of beauty and superstition combined. Women spent time each morning perfecting these lines, aware that a smudge or fade could shift the impressions they gave to others. Eyebrows, too, were shaped and sometimes darkened to create a frame for the face. Hair removal or enhancement was practiced to fit the fashion of the day. In some regions, women plucked brows entirely to create a high forehead, a sign of nobility and learning. These choices were carefully watched, each adjustment carrying meaning far beyond the surface. Stories from this time tell of women who paid dearly for their appearance. There are accounts of those shunned for neglecting their looks, seen as careless or lazy, and others who suffered health consequences from the toxic ingredients in their makeup. One tale speaks of a noblewoman who developed a rash so severe from her rouge that she was forced into isolation, her beauty mask cracked by the harsh reality of her body's reaction. Yet, the pressure to maintain this fragile mask was relentless. Every day brought the same ritual of preparation and performance, an exhausting cycle of applying, touching up, and guarding appearances. Beneath the surface, the fear of losing status or failing to meet expectations weighed heavily. Beauty was not merely cosmetic. It was armor against the uncertainties of life. In this delicate balance, makeup becomes a metaphor, a mask that both protects and confines. It offers control in a world that often offers little, but it can also conceal pain, illness, or sorrow. The woman who wears it is both empowered and vulnerable, navigating a path defined by looks and the judgments they invite. As you think about this, perhaps you wonder, what role does appearance play in your own life? How much of what we show to the world is a carefully crafted mask, shaped by expectations that are not entirely our own? I'd love to hear your reflections on this delicate dance between who we are and who we seem to be. If this glimpse into the mirror of medieval beauty has resonated with you, please feel free to share your thoughts. And when you're ready, I'll be here with more stories, gently unfolding the hidden layers of history's beauty rituals. In the soft glow of a flickering candle, you sit quietly, your hands busy crushing dried herbs between rough stones. These are faint scent of lavender and rosemary mingles with something earthier, perhaps the thick, greasy smell of animal fat pressed gently into your palms. Around you, whispers float through the air, prayers, charms, and old incantations passed down through generations, believed to hold the power to ward off blemishes and grant flawless skin. In this world, where knowledge is scarce and healing is often mysterious, beauty is as much a matter of faith as of practice. The lines between medicine, magic, and superstition blur, and women like you navigate this uncertain terrain with a mixture of hope and caution. You might apply a poultice made from crushed toad parts or carry a small charm sewn into your clothing, talismanic objects said to protect against the cruel marks of disease or aging. The feel of these remedies is tangible. The roughness of dried leaves, the stickiness of oils, the weight of small stones wrapped in cloth. Each gesture is an act of both vulnerability and strength, a tender attempt to reclaim some control over your body's changing landscape. You speak quiet prayers, your voice soft but steady, calling on saints or ancient spirits to bless your skin and hair to keep you radiant in a world that often feels harsh and unforgiving. These folk remedies tell a story of resilience. Women gather knowledge from the earth and the unseen world, blending practical ingredients like honey, egg whites, and plant roots with rituals that promise protection beyond the physical. The faith placed in these acts is a balm against uncertainty, a way to face the fragility of life with courage and care. In the shadow of these beliefs, every treatment carries hope. You may hear tales of a neighbor whose blemishes vanished after a full moon's prayer, or of an elder who swears by a secret mixture handed down from her grandmother. Though some methods seem strange or even unsettling to us now, they were vital lifelines then, ways to hold on to beauty and dignity when science faltered. In this fragile balance between what is seen and unseen, what is known and what is hoped, for women found ways to nurture themselves and each other. The flicker of candlelight reflects off your hands as you finish preparing your potion, a small moment of quiet determination. In a world where science faltered, how far would you go for a glimpse of beauty's promise? It is a question that lingers, inviting us to consider the lengths people have always traveled in search of something pure and radiant. If you have any folk remedies or family beauty secrets that have been passed down to you, I'd love to hear them. Sharing these whispers of tradition helps keep these stories alive, connecting us across time and place. As you rest tonight, wrapped in the calm of this story, know that the resilience and hope woven through these ancient rituals still echo softly in our lives today. Beneath the painted skin and scented veil lay stories of pain few could see. Imagine the quiet suffering hidden behind the flawless faces and delicate hands, a hidden world where beauty was not just a pursuit, but often a burden heavy enough to shadow a woman's very existence. The rituals that promised transformation also carried unseen costs, chronic illnesses, social isolation, and in some tragic cases, even death. Take, for example, the women who applied lead-based powders daily, desperate for the pale, luminous skin that society demanded. Over time, the poison settled into their bones and bloodstreams. They felt fatigue seep into their muscles, strange pains that no healer could soothe. Some found their hair thinning, their skin breaking out in sores that refused to heal. Yet, to stop was unthinkable. To cease the ritual was to risk losing status, respect, and even marriage prospects. They wore their poison like a secret cloak, silently enduring as their bodies betrayed them. There are whispers in the records of women who became socially isolated because their appearance changed, not in the way beauty demanded, but because illness made them appear unwell, scarred, or different. Gossip turned to fear and then to avoidance. A woman might find herself excluded from social gatherings, whispered about behind her back, as if her failing beauty marked some hidden moral fault. The burden extended beyond the body to the spirit, deepening loneliness and despair. Yet the story is not simply one of victimhood. It is a complex dance of agency and coercion, desire and expectation. These women made choices, sometimes desperate, sometimes hopeful, within the narrow confines of their world. They sought to shape their identity, to claim a sense of power in a society that offered them few options. The rituals of beauty were a way to communicate worth and humanity in a world quick to judge. Consider the psychological toll as well. The constant vigilance required to maintain appearances, the fear of public failure, the strain of physical pain. This relentless pressure shaped not just bodies but minds. Women who endured these hardships carried their burdens with quiet dignity, a testament to resilience as much as to suffering. One story tells of a noble woman whose obsession with maintaining her alabaster skin led her to consume arsenic wafers daily. Her health declined over years, but the pressure from court and family was unyielding. She became a ghost of her former self, her beauty a mask for the slow unraveling beneath. When she finally fell ill beyond recovery, her passing was mourned, with the same rituals that once celebrated her appearance. It is a poignant reminder of the fragile boundary between striving and sacrifice. Another tale speaks of a young woman who, after months of harsh hair treatments and bloodletting, lost her hair in patches and became too weak to work in the fields. Her family struggled to care for her, torn between shame and love. Her fate was sealed not by fate but by the relentless demands of a beauty ideal that allowed no mercy. In these stories, we see the intersection of personal desire and societal demand, a tension that shaped every choice and consequence. It is a reminder that beauty, while a source of joy and pride, has also been wielded as a tool of control and limitation. And yet, amid this hardship, there is something profoundly human, a spark of courage, an enduring hope. These women's lives remind us of the strength it takes to navigate impossible expectations, to keep seeking light in a world often dimmed by harsh realities. As you rest and reflect on these stories tonight, may you carry with you a sense of compassion for those who walked this path long ago. Their endurance whispers across the centuries, inviting us to honor not only their beauty, but their bravery. If these stories have touched you, I encourage you to subscribe and stay with me as we continue exploring the hidden lives behind history's surface. There is much more to discover, and together we can keep these voices alive. As we gently step out of the flickering candlelight of medieval chambers and into our own modern world, it's natural to reflect on how much has changed, and yet, how much remains familiar. The beauty rituals of those distant times, though strange and often dangerous to us now, hold echoes that still resonate today. The pressures to conform, the desire to be seen and valued, and the delicate balance between self-expression and societal expectation are threads that weave through every era. Today, we have access to a wealth of knowledge and safer products, and yet, the quest for beauty can still feel overwhelming. We see it in the carefully curated images on screens, in the endless array of cosmetics and treatments, and in the sometimes silent pressure to look a certain way. While the lead powders and arsenic wafers are thankfully behind us, new challenges arise: hidden risks, unrealistic standards, and the complex emotional weight of appearance. Looking back on those medieval women who endured so much, we find lessons in resilience and caution. They remind us to approach beauty with kindness, not just toward others but toward ourselves. To remember that behind every ritual and every product is a human being with hopes, fears, and a desire to be seen and loved. Their stories encourage us to question the ideals we chase. Are they truly ours, or inherited expectations that have been passed down like fragile heirlooms? How can we celebrate beauty in a way that nourishes rather than diminishes? These are gentle invitations to slow down, to breathe, and to consider what self-care really means. There is also hope in the progress we've made: greater awareness, more inclusivity, and a growing movement that embraces diverse forms of beauty. Yet even as we acknowledge this, it's important to remain mindful, to recognize when the pursuit of beauty tips into burden. Compassion, for ourselves and for others, becomes a vital companion on this journey. As you settle into the quiet of the evening, allow these reflections to wash over you like a calm tide. Beauty, in all its forms, is a deeply human experience, rich with history and meaning. It connects us across centuries, reminding us that behind every face is a story of courage, complexity, and hope. What wisdom might these medieval women offer us as we navigate our own reflections today? Perhaps the greatest gift is their quiet bravery, the courage to seek beauty despite the risks and the strength to carry on even when it feels like a heavy weight. If this story has touched you, I invite you to share your thoughts or favorite parts with others who find comfort in these histories. Together, we create a community that honors the past while embracing the present with gentle understanding. As you drift toward rest, may you carry with you a sense of peace and compassion, knowing that beauty is never just skin deep. It is woven into the very fabric of our shared humanity. Thank you for joining me on this gentle journey back through time, where we've walked alongside the women of the medieval world, women whose pursuit of beauty was both a source of hope and a heavy burden. Together, we've seen their struggles and their courage, their quiet strength beneath layers of powder, scent, and ritual. These stories remind us that behind every ideal lies a human heart, full of dreams, fears, and resilience. I hope this time spent listening has brought you a sense of calm and connection, a quiet understanding of lives lived long ago but still echoing in our own. The beauty rituals we explored were more than mere customs. They were expressions of identity, survival, and sometimes sacrifice. By honoring these women's experiences, we honor the complexity and depth of our shared history. If you feel moved to return, there are many more stories waiting. Immersive tales that gently unwrap the past with empathy and care, perfect for moments when you seek calm and reflection. I warmly invite you to subscribe so we can continue exploring these quiet corners of history together.